overthinking will kill creativity. Overthinking will kill the artist, and it will kill the career that you could have because of whatever factors, procrastination or overthinking or just getting too consumed and like trying to make it as perfect as you can. I said this to myself yesterday when I got home from the studio. I was like, you know, this head nurse project might have saved my career. And I know that sounds dramatic because it's like, who the f- are you? But like, I think it has because I haven't dropped a project since 2016.
Thank you for tuning in to the Mike Squires and Friends podcast. You can support by subscribing on YouTube or downloading on your preferred podcast platform. And definitely go do that because it helps us grow and I can have more incredible guests on the podcast. The Mike Squires and Friends podcast is proudly sponsored by DistroKid. Looking to broaden your musical horizons as an artist? Discover DistroKid. With its smooth and rewarding music distribution platform, DistroKid offers unlimited uploads while ensuring artists retain 100% of their royalties and earnings. Join the community of over 1 million artists who trust DistroKid to distribute their music across major platforms like Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, TikTok, Tidal, and so many others. Having personally used DistroKid since 2018, I can attest to their superiority amongst distribution services. Collaborating with fellow artists has become effortless, especially with the ability to easily send splits of songs, streamlining the creative process. With the DistroKid app, accessing these benefits is now more convenient than ever. Safely sign up or log in with two-factor authentication, upload releases on the fly, monitor earnings, and withdraw funds from your DistroKid bank. Stay updated on royalties through push notifications, effortlessly share hyperfollow links, manage account details seamlessly, and track streaming stats from Spotify and Apple. Additionally, explore Mixia for professional-grade mastering, DistroVid for music video distribution, and Instant Share for secure file sharing with collaborators, producers, and more. The DistroKid app is available on both iOS and Android. Download it today from the App Store or Google Play Store to revolutionize your music career. Visit distrokid.com/VIP/Mike Squires to get 30% off your first year membership. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy this episode of Mike Squires and Friends. Today, I'm joined by a good friend of mine, a creative genius, an artist, giving me a little Hannibal Lecter vibes today. Asked me if I put the lotion in the basket, and I totally would. Jet Perry, welcome to the Mike Squires and Friends podcast. Again, because technically you were here, and you hosted, and would you like to say something, Jet?
I see dead people. No, I'm just kidding. What's good? How you doing? It's your boy Jedi Jet P, a.k.a. Hans McGee, a.k.a. Jet Perry. It's good to be here on the Squires and Friends podcast.
I'm just thankful that we weren't going to do the whole podcast as you creepy.
Yeah,
I couldn't handle it.
Yeah,
we
would have been squeezing some content out. I wouldn't even know how to.
We were probably a minute into the podcast, and I already broke a sweat of discomfort.
Right.
But I want to kind of give a little bit of history of like how we know each other.
Talk to
So we met at NCC, right?
Yes, we did.
Which is Norwalk Community College, if you have no idea.
Well, formerly known as Norwalk Community College. I think it's like, they like rebranded. They're like Connecticut Community College or something like that now.
You know, and what a great segue into branding, dude, because I'm noticing with this huge project you got going on.
All right. We're out the floodgates. Let's do it.
Well, so you have this project Head Nurse that's coming out.
Yes, sir.
And your branding for the project is probably some of the best branding I've seen from you yet. You know, obviously you're sitting here in front of me looking crazier than usual.
Going straight Kanye on InfoWars minus the anti-Semitism.
Yeah, but even like, you know, I've seen like some of the branding with, you know, the nurse that you have and Wyatt like choking you out on the cover. Like, it's an incredible job of like what you've done, and it's very memorable. So I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about like why did you make these choices for your branding, and kind of just talk to branding as a whole as an artist and why it's important.
So, first off, I want to shout out Mad Laugh because it's a duo album with me and him. He's my producer. He's also a rapper in his own right, artist in his own right. So shout out to Mad Laugh. But yeah, so the concept of Head Nurse, right? I was explaining it to you off camera. One day, we've been working on this project since like 2018, right? It's 2024. Now No, it didn't take 5 years to make. It's not The Chronic. It's not, you know what I mean? It's not whatever Dr. Dre's album was. Was that The Chronic that he was building up for so long?
Oh,
Detox.
I was gonna say
Detox.
the one that never came out.
Yeah, right. He gave us like, what was it, Compton. He gave us Compton instead. But so basically we started this 2018. At some point I scrapped the project because I don't know, my focus was going elsewhere creatively, and I was like, you know what, you're gonna hate me, but we're not gonna do this project. He was like, okay, fine. Like, at some point I decided, you know what, let's pick it up. I think we had something there. So we're making a bunch of songs. We actually recorded a vast majority of this on Audacity for all the DAW, the DAW users out there who, you know what Audacity is? One of the neglected stepchildren of the DAW family. Audacity, it gets the work done. You know what I mean? It's not about the equipment you have, kids. It's about the people behind it. So we recorded most of this on Audacity on Wyatt's computer. Mad Laugh, sorry. For if you hear me say Wyatt, this is Mad Laugh I'm referring to. And so we recorded a lot of those songs. And one day he was like, yo, I think I got a name for the project. I was like, okay, what is it? And he said, then he proceeds to tell me a joke. He's like, what do you call, or how do you know who the head nurse is?
How do you know, dude?
It's the one with the dirty knees. Stupid joke, right? Great joke. Because I was like, oh yeah, that's a good title. He was like, head nurse. So I was like, oh, word. All right. So from that point on, we were kind of just making standalone songs. After that, I started building a concept around it because I'm extra, and like I feel like when I roll out a project, it can't just be a collection of songs. I want it to be an experience. And like talking about like branding as an artist, like those artists that encapsulate and recreate themselves and rebrand themselves every time they drop a project, those are some of my all-time favorites. Kanye, obviously, that's one you and me share. Prince, Michael Jackson. When you think of the Michael Jackson eras, you think of Off the Wall, him with the disco, him with the suit on and like, the disco sound. Thriller, the red jacket, obviously. Bad, the black jacket, the biker look. Tyler, the Creator, obviously, shout out to him. He's about to drop an album soon. He recreates himself every time he drops. New sound, new color palette, everything, right? He'll take on characters. And those type of artists always inspired me. So I said, I told myself a long time ago, like, when I drop bodies of work, I want it to be a moment that people remember, right? So for this whole head nurse thing, the main theme for me is like imagery. What do you remember about that era of Jet Perry? Oh, I remember him he had like that like freaking mask on, and he was literally in a straitjacket, and it fits into the theme of the project because there are some skits that tie the songs together that take place in like an insane asylum between me, Dr. Laugh, who's Mad Laugh's character, and Nurse Mindy, who shout out to Nicole Mariano. She plays the nurse on the project. So yeah, no, I've had a lot of fun making this project. Like I was telling you in the car, like I feel like this crazy surge of creative energy right now, and I'm just trying to strike while the iron's hot. You know what I mean? So yeah, it feels good.
No, it definitely is. It's pretty cathartic.
My bad.
Too.
That was a very long-winded answer.
No, it was honestly it's
yap session.
It's what I wanted to hear though, because I relate to your sentiment a lot because it's like it's me and my red, white, and blue 50 states.
Right.
Here, you know what I mean? Like that's 50 states, Mike Squires. You
and
know
that's
what I mean?
Additional inspiration I got for this project. Obviously, we had the concept like, before I even knew you were doing the 50 states, but like seeing you really encapsulate the quote unquote character of what the 50 states is. You're walking around wearing that suit. People who know you, people who even see you on the internet, people who are fans of Mike Squires, they're always going to remember the 50 states era because it's like the imagery. Oh, I remember he was walking around wearing a red, white, and blue suit. He kept popping up on my timeline, dropping different songs for each state. And, concepts like that are, I always admire artists that go above and beyond. You're an artist because anybody could just drop a collection of songs and call it a day. But, like, you're trying to make it an experience.
And to be honest with you, and I'm sure you're feeling this now, it's not necessarily easy to put yourself out there. And that, dude, I feel crazy sometimes walking around in that red, white, and
no
blue
pun
suit.
intended, but how do you think I feel? Like, you know what I mean? We're having a listening party for the project to be kind of pretentious. I'm calling it an immersive listening experience because we're gonna have it at First Class Studios. Shout out to Chris Murda. We're going to have it at First Class Studios in Stamford. And, you know, when people come to listen to the project, I don't want it to just be your standard, like, I'm playing the project, I'm rapping along. I'm having guards bring me out, and I'm struggling in the straight jet. Like, I want people to be, like, frightened, you know, like, oh, shit. Is this, like, really, you know what I mean? Like, because blurring the line between art and reality, that's the fun of it. You know, this is the character. Oh, he's really become this character, you know? Now I want to check out what this music's about. Like, you know, the music could be good. The imagery could be good, but putting two and two together, that nice package, that's something people are always going to remember. People always remember where they were, you know, the fans of these artists, people always remember where they were in life when Kanye dropped. They remember where they were when Tyler dropped, or, you know, Kendrick. Like, it's because they have a whole rollout that encapsulates the theme and the imagery of the project. And, you know, that type of stuff gives me chills. I love it, man.
Rule number one of being in the entertainment or trying to make it in the entertainment industry, be entertaining.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And I think a lot of people forget that sentiment where it's like,
everybody's trying to be too cool now. You know what I mean? Like, they want to, just a mysterious thing that we'll do the black and white palette, and we won't show our face and we won't talk online. We'll just type in lowercase. I type in lowercase, I have to admit it. But, you know, we'll type in lowercase and we'll just say song out now. And it's like, dude, like, the times of, like, just getting popping because your music's good, I wouldn't say it's over, but, like,
it's so hard to do.
It's a whole package now. Oh, I just ripped in the back. I'm feeling a nice little breeze on my back. But yeah, I mean, the times of, like, artists, you not knowing who an artist is, they're done or they're dying. You know, very few artists have music that's just strong enough to stand on its own without anything else. You know, a lot of people, like, we live in.
Do you want me to situate you?
You want to?
I can situate you real quick.
Button me up.
Yeah, I got you. There you go. Like I said, dude.
Imagery.
Yeah, and doing this stuff is hard, dude. Everyone sees the final result. They don't see the stitch popping in the back, dude.
Right. People that didn't hear that Velcro just rip in the back, hopefully. But yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting, but it's a fun thing to do. I think more artists, and I can't tell every artist to do this, right? This isn't, some artists, you can just make good music and, like, this just not who you are. Some people just don't want to be all out and talking on microphones and, like, showing their personality, and I get all that. But, you know, and I tried to, for a while, like, stray from that too. Like, I don't want to, like, be talking all the time and this, that, and the third, but, like, you know, I've been told I'm an entertaining guy. I've been told I'm funny, charismatic, whatever. Like, you know, not to suck myself off, but I'm going to suck myself off a bit. You could clip that one, use that on TikTok. But yeah, you know, I've known for a long time that I was a theater kid in high school. So, like, you know, I did plays. I was acting at a young age. You know, we've shot countless skits growing up. We've shot short films. We'll get into that later maybe. So, like, you know, I have acting experience, and, like, any skill you have that can, like, differentiate you from the field, why not use it? You know what I mean? Like, there's so many people out here trying to do the same thing as you. Why don't you shine a light on what makes you so special as an artist? So that's what I try to do.
Yeah, and you're probably one of my longest time friends that I've had on the podcast too. And a lot of the times when people ask me, like, no one ever asked me this, but if they were to ask me,
right,
who is your funniest friend, I would probably say you, dude. Well, dude,
nice.
I'm thinking about, like, some memories that we have together.
Right.
One of my favorite memories, and I'm just gonna preface this by saying that I don't smoke often. I don't drink. I don't smoke or drink really at all, dude.
Right.
But the first time I smoked was with you.
Still honored.
And yeah, you know, I'll tell the front end of the story just because it was, like, a little bit like I was on a solo journey and then maybe when I link up with you guys, that's where you pick it up.
Okay.
You know, so I was doing this shoot in Jamaica. I was filming for this company, Groove Cruise, and some dude came up to me on the beach and he asked me if I wanted weed. So I bought $10 worth of weed from him, and now I'm a camera guy, right?
Right.
So where the battery, I don't know if this is also incriminating. It sounds very incriminating.
I mean, hey, they can't pin you with, what was it, 5-6 years ago?
I don't even want to tell you. It might be 10, dog. It's like 9
was a
years.
while
9
ago.
years, 2015.
Yeah.
crazy.
We're coming up on a decade. Like,
Yeah.
Whoever's,
All right. Back to the story. Anyways, so I had a GoPro on me, and where like the GoPro battery went is where I like crammed all the weed in there so that they wouldn't find it, right? So now we're getting back on the boat. I know I have this weed, and I don't know if you know this, in Jamaica, weed is actually really illegal there. Right. So it's like, they treat like a weed charge like cocaine, or at least they did in 2015, because I remember... Right.
Despite the stereotype that, all Jamaicans smoke weed, it's like, yeah, now they law enforcement.
It's like pretty serious. So, you know, I'm walking up the plank isn't the right term, the gangplank. What is the thing called? Like the dock. We'll say the dock.
Okay, sure.
So I'm walking up the dock. There's like all the officials there with the sniffing dogs. They're all like barking around. People are getting plucked out left and right, dude.
Heart's beating out of your chest.
I'm sweating.
Because you got a little dime in your GoPro bag.
Dude, but keep in mind, I'm also on like a EDM cruise too, where like everybody is on drugs.
Yeah.
Like literally there's not a single person on there. Like, so I get onto the boat. Everything is good. Fine. Now, after the cruise is done, I got to go through Miami TSA. So I'm going through Miami TSA. It's the same drill. You see the dogs, like everyone there. It's like I'm sweating bullets, looking mad nervous. My bag goes through the scanner. Nothing caught. So I finally get back home, and I connect with you guys, because I think at the time, P picked me up. And then I just like, well, you know what? Because originally I was like, oh, I got you something. And he was like, what? You know, he's thinking a T-shirt. He's thinking like, you know what I mean? So I like opened up my GoPro and I pulled up this little baggie of weed.
Yeah, it was
the smallest bag of weed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's crazy because had I got caught with this, that would have been like a $30,000 fine, dude.
Would it really have been that bad?
Depending on where I was in the process. I think it was like a $30,000 if they were to like pursue it to the full extent. You know what I mean? The chance of them pursuing it to the full extent, probably not. But if they wanted to, you know.
They'd have you on a Dare commercial after that. Do not smoke weed,
Which
kids.
would be so ironic coming from me, because it's like...
Yeah, why is Mike Squires telling me this?
Like, yeah, no. But anyways, so, you know, I'm like, no, like, this is for you. Like, and I was giving it to P as a gift. And he's like, well, you got to smoke it. And I was like, I did just kind of risk whatever I just risked to get this here. Let's do it. So then we go to Bayview. We link with you.
Shout out to Bayview.
Yeah.
Bayview Towers.
Yeah. And all I remember from there is I remember there was a water bottle constructed.
Yeah, so we were trying to find a way to smoke it. For some reason, me and Pimo, who both smoked, didn't have papers on us. So in 2015, we're probably 20, maybe?
Probably prime smoking age, too.
Yeah, but like we're just being some fucking pothead knuckleheads, and we're just like, dude, maybe like what if we smoke it out of a bottle? So there must have been a water bottle accessible. That was the first thing we saw, and we were like, okay, let's smoke it out of this. And we smoked. I don't even remember how we did it, but I think we put like little tin foil on the side, lit it up, smoked it. You inhaled. This is, mind you, this is his first time smoking weed. So I'm like, okay. You're smoking it. You're laughing, right? You know, this is standard practice when you first smoke weed. It hits your chest a little bit. You're not used to that type of harsh feeling on your lungs. He's coughing. He looks eyes watery. I'm like, okay, yeah. He's still coughing up a lung. I'm like, okay, yeah, let him get it out. You know that line when it goes from like dry cough to like wet cough to like, yo, is something about to come? Like, you know, so it was like a to like, so this dude starts hawk-tooing. Next thing I know, you know, if you've ever seen a cat throw up,
Chill.
If you've ever seen a cat throw up, it does. It's like it'll regurgitate. When it finally vomits, it's silent. You don't hear it coming. You just see it. Now, I've never seen a human being do that. This dude's coughing. Next thing I know, he's just like silently hunches over and just like this egg yolk of vomit drips out onto my mattress. I don't know why I guess I was cleaning sheets that day because it was like on my bare mattress, which I don't know why I had a bunch of grown men sitting on my bare mattress, but I think my sheets were in the wash. We were sitting on my mattress, and then you just baby barfed on my mattress. And anybody who knows me, I'm not afraid of many things. Vomit, I don't fuck around with vomit, bro. So like, you know, it was all ha 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 ha. And then once that baby barf came, I was like, okay, straight face. I'm like, okay, the fun's over. Let's wrap this up. But
what ended up happening though, as I remember this too, I was like, oh, can we get more?
And then we went on another like excursion, like adventure to go get that.
What's the $40 amount of weed?
That could be like an eighth.
I think we got an eighth. So from what I remember,
used to be eighths. I go for like 25 now, but
yeah. Times have changed.
Times have changed.
We're talking 2015,
right?
But I remember we drove somewhere.
Was that the same night we scooped from?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
That's the exact. Yeah.
And that interaction with him and Pimo was hilarious. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was just like. Just looking around, I don't know. It was just.
It felt crazy, dude.
I'm sure he felt like, oh, I'm being set up right now. Oh, like these guys are cops. You know what I mean? Like Pimo, he looks like an undercover cop.
You know, Adonis was with us too, and then so we ended up smoking that entire eighth as well, dude. And like I stayed in rotation the entire time. But my favorite part's the ending of this story where I wanted to go get chicken tenders, dude, and. Nobody wanted to go with me. I don't know if you remember.
I loosely remember. Okay.
So, dude, I wanted to go get chicken tenders at the Bull's Head Diner. Rest in peace. And nobody wanted to go because it was like 2, 3 in the morning. And I was like, "Yo, if we all go, I'll like buy for everyone. I'll buy everyone's chicken tenders."
Okay, I do remember that. All right. And I feel like we had some weird interaction up there too, like at the diner.
We did. Well, you know what it was? If I remember correctly, unfortunately, I think I was the weird interaction. I think I just was like I couldn't handle myself. I was so cooked at that point where it's like I would like look at the waiter or waitress and I would just start geeking.
Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah.
And I just like couldn't. I was like really trying to like hold it together. Dude.
Yeah. Would you say for you, was that like, because I know sometimes when you get too high, it's that like, okay, I'm not having fun anymore. I'm like trying to focus on breathing. So it's like, were you at that point or it was still like a fun high? Like,
that was fun, dude. I've only got high once where it was like absolutely, I almost hit the deep end. I was like very close. Which again, I don't, it's crazy because I keep referencing that I don't smoke it. Like, I mean, I probably smoke and drank.
Listen, bro. You hang around a bunch of artists. You go on tours and stuff. Like you were bound to put a J in your mouth at some point.
Yeah, awesome. No, but it's funny though too because I like really like, you know, I don't though, and I kind of like keeping it that way. Right. You know, what I mean, just for like me. So that's why I always profess that I don't do this. But last year I had an edible for the first time, dude, and I was.
Oh, that's to go from smoking to an edible. That's like a. That's a bit of a jump, you know what I mean?
I was
like,
in the deep end, dude. There was like a low. All I remember, I was laughing the whole time, and there was like this weird low. It's really a full story that I could paint the picture of. I don't think we need to go to the full thing because I want to focus on you today. But there was like, I just remember the point where I almost lost it is that there was like a lo-fi beat playing in the background, and like I was like so hyper focused on like the melody of this beat. And it was like sending me into a panic. Granted, I was really high though, so I was like, "Oh my god, like what the fuck?" And then the beat ended, and I was fine for the rest of it. But like getting through that, I don't know what happened, dude.
What was this on tour?
Yeah, this was on tour, dude. It was like a crazy situation. I'll paint a little bit of a picture. So it's like we were going from the UK to Ireland. So I was on like this, or actually, you know, I was going from mainland Europe to the UK because it was like a 12-hour ferry, dude. So we had a 12-hour ferry, nothing to do, no internet. No, I was like, oh, perfect time to eat an edible.
Okay.
Yes, because we drove the bus onto the ferry. You know what I mean?
And you're on the bus on the ferry?
So we're on the ferry, but you're not allowed to you're not allowed to stay in your vehicle. They had like an accident where like, you know, I mean,
Okay.
you can imagine the rest.
Yeah, right.
But, you know, so no longer allowed to sit in your car. But yeah, dude, I just was, you know, I had it earlier in the day and I was actually feeling good. I was like cruising at a nice altitude
And
for
you
a
had
second.
more?
No, I went to dinner and then all of a sudden,
It
like,
just-
I like took off. Like, oh, like, yeah.
What is
okay.
it, that meme with Bobby Hill and the ghost is coming out of his body?
Oh, yeah, dude.
Yeah,
because
his
like
spirit.
I couldn't even like look at something because if I looked at that's my issue when I get high. If I look at somebody, I start cracking up, dude. I don't know what it is. I'm just
See, that's my thing. Like, experienced smokers can like eat edibles and be like, yo, I'm never again, right? So like, I've had my fair share of edibles. I'm just not I like to get
you have a
high
crazy experience.
from an edible. I don't have a crazy experience on an edible. Yeah, I don't really. If anything, it would be like acid.
What
like-
happened on acid, dude?
Well, has anything in particular happened? I mean, there was this one night. I'm not going to get into names, but this was one night I was at my boy's crib, and we dropped some acid. This is probably the highest. No, not the highest I've ever been. The highest I've ever been was on dabs, which if anybody doesn't know what dabs are, it's like concentrated THC. It's like wax. So this is why I don't do dabs, right? The highest I've ever been, I know it. And it has to do with Mad Laugh, actually. I'm in Mad Laugh's basement one day. We're at his house. And anybody who knows Mad Laugh, or for the people who don't, this dude is a behemoth.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say like the dab that would take me and him out are two different dabs.
Right. So this dude is, I'm talking 6'5", 350, like offensive lineman in a past life, right? So he smokes dabs all the time. So he's also built a tolerance to it. I, every now and then, and the last time I smoked a dab, this was in the winter time of like 20, maybe 16, something like that. I was so high. It's like 10 degrees outside. I was so high. I had to walk outside to try and quote unquote sober myself up. I went in front of the Tully Center and just waited to pass out so that when they opened in the morning, they'd find me. That was the last time I took a dab before the Mad Laugh House. So I was like, oh, sounds about right.
Did they find you?
I didn't pass out, but like I was at that level where I was like, you know, when you're so high, it's like, okay, this is life now. I'm gonna be like this forever. Like, you know, you never want to get to that point. So I swore off dabs after this Mad Laugh experience. But you know, we're in the basement, we're smoking dabs, and this dude again, he's a behemoth, so he's just ripping through them. Like, you know what I mean? I think we were making music or something. It might have been the early stages of this project, to be honest. So he's just ripping a fucking dab, ripping dabs. I'm trying to keep up.
Can I try one?
Yeah. Oh boy. So like, you know, I'm trying to keep up. I'm smoking a dab. I'm like, you know what? Let me just ease my way into it this time. You know, because the last time it happened similar to how you threw up on my mattress the time before the Mad Laugh experience. I got so high because I hit it. It landed in the wrong part of my chest and I coughed for like 5 minutes straight. And then when I opened my eyes up, the world was altered. So like, I kept that in mind. I'm like, okay, don't hit it too hard, right? I'm smoking the dab with Mad Laugh, and it was a little harsh on my chest, and I was trying to fight the coughs. I have a theory that for the smokers, if you fight the cough, it's gonna be even worse when you like, you know. So like, it was one of those like I'm coughing. I'm trying to fight it in, but then I keep coughing. Same thing. I look up, but it wasn't as bad at first. I look up, I am very high, but I'm like, okay, if I sit here and breathe and focus on my heart rate, I'll be all right. But the way it progressively gets worse, like what you were saying, like, hey, I was fine on this, and then when we went to dinner, and on dabs, you're high for like 6 hours. The same thing with like an edible. You're high for like 5-6 hours sometimes. So yeah, it just progressively got worse and worse. And I was so high, I was like, yeah, I need to go take a walk. But I didn't tell him that. I was just like, yeah, I'm gonna go jump on the phone or something. I don't remember what the story I told was, but I left his house, and now I'm just walking up and down the block in New Canaan, just trying to like, I don't know what the game plan was. I looked wild. I'm over there like, I was like repeating a phrase to myself to like trying to calm myself down. But like, I hate getting that high because it's like, I like to just chill and mellow out. You know what I mean? A nice indica strand, you know what I mean? Where I can sit here, talk to you, just kind of, I feel relaxed, I feel chilled. I don't want to be on something where I'm like, what'd you say? Like, you know, sweating. So, yeah, I don't know. Whatever you do, I would avoid dabs. Edibles in moderation are good. Dude, you just got to know the dosage and how much to take. You should be fine.
Dude, walking yourself to the hospital is crazy.
Yeah,
though.
yeah, that was my game plan.
Like,
I had too much pride to go, because I was with two of my boys. I had too much pride to go be like, yo, something's wrong. So I was like, I'd rather just.
So they find you like a bird that just hit the window right outside.
Yeah. And mind you, it's 10 degrees, so they would have found me like Jack Nicholson at the end of The Shining.
Yeah, dude. Oh my God. Bro.
Thawed out, but.
What's the lesson to be taken away from this, dude?
If you're gonna do drugs, do it in moderation and be responsible. Be careful because when you're know what you're taking. Because when you're in a ballpark that's not your own, you know your boy who smokes all the time might be like, "Yo, try this." So he's built a tolerance to it. Once you get a touch of it, yeah, you're fighting for your life.
Yeah, I feel like it goes from like, "Yeah, try this, dude." You take it, and then it's like, "How is it, buddy?" Yeah. Yeah, but let's talk to, we have other memories too. Another day or 3 days I'd like to talk about, the famous 3 days of hell, which is not going to translate 100% to the listeners, but we could explain it as what not to do on a film set.
Right. This could be like a lesson for anybody in the film and like short, like filmmakers, actors, whatever. Like, listen. When movies are made in Hollywood, the one thing actors always say is like, I didn't know how long the days were, right? Especially like got people in other fields that transition to film. So like, for example, like a lot of musicians that like decide to like act or something, they're like, yeah, you know, it's crazy because like doing music, it's like I do a show for an hour or two and then I'm off stage, right? If you're in a movie, you're in a show, you're standing around for like 6 hours, you're filming for maybe 30 minutes. And so like that's on a much larger production with a bigger team, you know, more capable hands. Now imagine a bunch of amateurs essentially doing this with much less resources and probably equal the amount of people, right? So he referred to it as the 3 days of hell, as everybody involved infamously calls it. It's actually the 6 days of hell because He bailed out on the first 3 days. He was filming. Were you filming?
You know what? That's actually mad funny. The second you said that, I do remember bailing out. Yeah.
Yeah. Because, I mean, it was 3 days of hell. But, like, yeah, in total. So, all right. Let me bring it back. So, back in, like, starting in, like, 2014 probably, me, Mike, and a bunch of our other friends, some of them you might know, they're artists in their own right, actors, etc. We were involved in a short film called The Offer. It was like an action movie, right? Written and directed by our good friend Danny Aguilar of 1894 Films. Shout out to Danny. This was his second short film, and this was the first short film he had more than like 3 people on set at one time. So we're all like, Danny by himself is trying to like corral a group of like 20 to 25 people. Were you there for the party scene when we shot the party scene? Because that might have been the second half of the 6 days of hell.
I think it was, because the things that I remember is running down a hill.
Right.
And I remember us going into a house and somebody laying on the window and cracking the window.
Yeah, and then it was Ron. Yeah. Shout
Ron.
Yeah, and that was the whole joke the rest of the day, like, yo, it's hot in here. Can you crack a window? Like, we were essentially in someone's house that someone knew, and they let us borrow, like, a room to film in.
They're like, no matter what, don't
break
anything.
We're about 25 minutes into the shoot, and Ron's leaning on the window, and we hear... And Danny was like, kid, what the fuck was that sound, kid? Now, mind you, anybody who knows Danny, Danny's a very animated guy. Like, I'm not really exaggerating when I'm talking about him. He's like, what the fuck was that sound? Everybody looks around silently. You know when you do something wrong and you're just like, you try to remove yourself from the scene. That was kind of what Ron did. So we look and we see there's a new crack in a window that didn't have a crack prior. And Danny's like, what the fuck, kid? And so like, so we're all laughing. Danny's just stressed out and I feel bad, you know, because Danny, he puts his heart and soul into his films and I respect it. But, you know, we're a bunch of like fucking 18, 19, 20-year-olds goofing around. Mind you, we're professionals and we're staying locked in. But Danny very clearly at this time did not know how to corral this many people in a film set. So, you know, it was 3 days of, we're shooting an action movie, right? And these locations are like in the middle of the winter, outside, in the woods. Everybody's cold, hungry, tired. We went up to, what was that place in Connecticut?
It's funny that you're saying this all because right before you said cold, hungry, tired, I was like, well, what made those days so miserable? And it was because we were cold, hungry, and tired.
We weren't just fighting like the grueling process of filmmaking, which already is a thing, right? No matter what level you're at, amateur or professional. It was the long, grueling days of filmmaking, but also like Danny wasn't like giving us food, really. You know what I mean? There wasn't like food provided. I'm not shading you. This is just what happened. All right, this is how I remember the story. So like, you know, it's like, you know, we were young guys, and I mean, I think it was like really, you looking back on those days, right? I look at it with nothing but fondness because we've been in this shit, bro. We're true to this, not new to this. You know what I mean? In entertainment in general, film, music, whatever. Like the fact that we came there and not a single one of us was getting paid a lick on a dime. But we're like, yo, we're here for our boy Danny. And also we're doing this because we love this shit. You know, obviously, you know, I mean, I feel like you did it out of like, all right, Danny, shut up here. I'll do it.
No, I got love for
all right,
Danny.
Okay. Like, you know, I'm ripping the Velcros again. But yeah, you know, yeah, I don't know if it was for the love of the game because you did leave on the second half. But
you can't even do any of this stuff if you don't have love
for
it.
Did he pay you?
No, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, for the passion.
But you know, it's like
I
like to see things through.
Yeah, and I look back on those days with great fondness, and to this day, I mean, maybe we'll put a link in the bio or something for the short film because it did end up coming out after like 4 years. It was dead. I was like 4 years.
No, I remember.
And like everyone's like, "Yo, what's going on?" Dan's, I'm on the 6th edit right now.
But you know what I learned from the offer though, which is like funny. It's that
please tell me.
Well, Danny spent a lot of time building up that edit, and when you spend that much time on something, you actually build an expectation.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
a lot of people in our network, like in Stamford, Norwalk, Darien, like in Connecticut, you know, where we live, they were really looking forward to it because at the time, nobody was delivering that type of like quality, that type of production value because like if you guys watch it, it holds up today. It looks good. It's a good looking movie. The sound could be better, but like visually, it's a pretty cool movie.
Yeah.
That's if I'm being strictly like film critic here, that's probably the best quality of it. You know, the dialogue's dodgy here and there, but like...
But it's like kind of a jump off, like first, it was like Danny's like first bigger production.
It's a good thing to put on your resume to show because if you see any of the short films Danny has went on to direct after that, it's like really humble beginnings and he continues to get better every time he gets behind a camera. And yeah, I'm looking forward to his next film and I'm like really... I'm really honored to like be a part of his first two because we didn't even talk about Repent, but we're not going to get into that. Yeah. Repent was the very first one he did. But yeah, the offer gave us the 6 days of hell, 3 days of hell with you. And, you know, I wouldn't take that back for the world, man. Like the experience we all had together, making that happen. Like it's like a cool feeling to like know that you came together with your friends and you guys like saw something through to the end creatively. And like, you made something dope. Like, we did make something dope. And it's not like I said, we've been doing this for a long time. We can look back and be like, yo, 2014, we've been doing 2015. Like, you know, we've built great resumes for ourselves. I personally feel like, you know, we might not be Martin Scorsese yet. We might not be Drake yet. But, like, I think the process is an underappreciated part of the whole thing. So, like, you know, enjoying the process of, like, building that resume, you know.
Yeah, and I think building up your catalog is so important, whether it's music, film, whatever you're doing too, for the reason of looking back.
But I
got some on my eyebrow?
Yeah, right there. Yeah, you got it. There you go.
There we go,
Looking
dude.
good.
So building up that resume is like important though, whether it's like music, video, or whatever, just because one, you can look back on it and see your progress, but two, like, you shouldn't really overthink releasing things because it's like, trust me, I know we're gonna
We'll
talk
get
about
into that. Yeah, we'll get.
Because the thing is, it's like, you know, not to say that Danny overthought it, but it could have come out a lot quicker than 4 years.
So, you know, for all the artists that like suffer from this whole thing about you know, not releasing because they're just fine tuning and they're perfectionists, right? I know it's like a popular thing to say, oh, I'm such a perfectionist, but it's like, you know, for people like myself, people like my boy Shamar Morgan, he's in my band. He's also an individual artist, like a solo artist. Danny, it's like you watch it or listen to it over and over and over and over, and your ears and eyes start to lie to you and like show you things that are wrong that actually aren't there. But because you're so obsessed with like making it as perfect as you possibly can, none of us can achieve perfection. But there is a point where it's like you got to just let it leave it in the nest. You know, talking to Chris Murda again. Shout out Chris Murda. I'm shouting out all my people that I know, but Chris Murda was on the pod. Murda I was talking to him one day at the studio, and he's like, "Bro, you got to realize like the stuff we make. Yeah, you got to like it yourself, but it's like when it goes out there, these little problems like, oh, on the second hook, the way that it sounds, the flanger that's used, and oh, I don't like the EQ. The average person has no idea what you're talking about. You don't know how many times I'll play an unreleased for somebody. I'm like, yo, take it with a grain of salt because it's not mixed, it's not mastered, and this, that, and the third, and I got to redo the vocals on the second verse. They're like, yo, what's wrong with it? They listen to it like, what's wrong with it? It sounds amazing. It sounds great. Looks great. And it's like, oh, he's lying to me. Oh, da-da-da-da.
It's almost like you want them to say that there's something because that's where your head's at.
Yeah, and then like, you know, times where I'll be like, oh, this is the problem. And they're like, oh, I see what the problem is. I see it. And then I'm like, oh, then I get defensive. And it's like, what do you want? You know what I mean? Do you want people to agree with you, or do you want people to say, yeah, oh, no, it's great? So I think, and I'm trying and semi-succeeding, I guess. I'm trying to get better with, and you actually taught me this. You taught me this a little bit, was just get it to a point where it sounds good, you like it enough, and let it go sometimes. Because I think a lot of artists, they suffer from, you know, this perfectionist trait, you know, where there are some artists who can release 50 songs in 3 months, right? And then there are some artists who can't release 3 songs in 2 years. And it's like, you just overthink the process. Overthinking will kill creativity. Overthinking will kill the artist, and it will kill the career that you could have because of whatever factors, procrastination or overthinking or just getting too consumed in like trying to make it as perfect as you can. I said this to myself yesterday when I got home from the studio. I was like, you know, this head nurse project might have saved my career. And I know that sounds dramatic because it's like, who the fuck are you? But like, I think it has, because I haven't dropped a project since 2016 because of the same reasons I'm stating. Overthinking. I have spent literal years, and this is me talking to any artist who's young and, you know, trying to make this thing happen. You will 100% not get anywhere if nothing comes out. It's impossible. It is impossible. Like, you're trying to make it as perfect as you can, but if your base isn't there yet, like, there's no need to absolutely obsess over it, because it's crushing when you put so much energy, so much work into it, just for it to come out and it doesn't do what you expected it to do, or it's underwhelming, or whatever. Like, there's been so many times I've done 8, 10, 11 mixes on a song. It comes out and it doesn't do the numbers that I thought it was gonna do, and it crushes you. But like, it makes you think like, well, what was all that for? I think that happens with me so many times, and plus me just getting older and older, it's like, yo, and I see what you're doing the last year, where you're dropping a song a week. You're dropping 50 songs in total for a project. I don't have 50 songs on streaming in general. You know what I mean? You've put way more songs on DSPs than I ever have. And I want to start building my catalog again, because, one of my problems is like, I'm very much a project artist, right? I'm project orientated. I like bodies of work, but I'm just trying to get better with letting go. It's your baby. It's like raising a kid. It's your baby. You raise it for 18 years. In this case, you raise a song or a film or whatever for a period of a certain amount of time. Eventually, it's got to belong to the world. Eventually, you got to let it walk on its own feet. So it's like, yo, it's been here. I kept it in the safe, in the archives, this, that, and the third, all this other stuff. But like, that's not cool anymore. Hashtag dump that hard drive. I don't know. Let's get a new hashtag going for the struggling artists out there. Like, dump that hard drive, bro. Just put it out. Just put it out. You will get nowhere if it stays on the hard drive, if it stays in the archives. You'll get nowhere. Take it from me, who has wasted so many years of my career not releasing music. Please, I beg you, I implore you. You don't know me. Take it from the crazy man with the mask on. Put that out. Whoever you are, artist, filmmaker, whatever, put it out.
Dude, every song is like a dart, dude, because the thing is, the more darts you throw, you're more likely to hit a bullseye.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And what you think might be the thing might not even be the thing that does it for you, dude. That's
Absolutely.
a whole other thing. So you really do just need to keep releasing and stay consistent, and it is very important. And, I think it's also a balance, too, because, there's a balance between overthinking and you don't want to like just throw anything at the wall. You know what I mean? So like you want to put a level of care into your craft. But even like, I'll take a record like Somebody New that we both worked on, right?
Yep.
Even when it got to the final mix, I know that we weren't 100 on it, but I was just like, we just gotta let it fly. It's time. I can't wait any longer.
Yeah.
And
so you came to me maybe a month before you dropped the album?
Pretty much. And it was the last song of the project, which ended up becoming the intro to the project. Right.
And it was one day we just locked in. We went to Carriage House. We recorded it. It felt good when we recorded it, right? Then you sent it to your engineer, and we got back 3 different versions. And even the final version that you guys have heard, I didn't really like it. I was like, yo, just have him bring down the sharpness of my vocal. And you're like, yo, I got to let this fly. I got to meet this deadline. And I understood that, but so I was like, all right, it was really just okay, this is your song. So it's like, I can't dictate when this comes out. If that was my song 100%, I don't even know if it would have been out by now. I might have still been playing with the mixes. I'm glad that we let that one fly, because that's definitely one of my best streaming songs so far. And that's a song that really was special to a lot of people, especially when we did the music video.
It's my of my catalog. When I listen to my music, that's the song I listen to, dude.
Yeah, it's definitely a triumphant.
That's how it's kicked off this year, pretty much, with the music video.
Yeah,
too.
Yeah. That song is become synonymous with success in a weird way. It reminds me of Champion by Kanye West. It gives you that same feeling triumph, right? And the whole, the record is stands alone, it's got a message to it, but when we added the music video to it, it gave it a different connotation, because it was all Connecticut based. The music video was a bunch of Connecticut based themes, right? A bunch of Connecticut sports teams and artists from Connecticut, and and so it was it was like a love letter to the state that we're from. And when we dropped that video, it gave it a whole new life. People really gravitate towards that video to this day. I see people out, or you know, they hit me up, yo, that's somebody new record, yo, that joint with you and Squires is crazy. And then to add a little cherry on top, during the summer, Hey Stanford Food Festival, A Boogie and Cash Cobain came to perform, and we got the opportunity to perform that live in front of like, how many people do you think was there? Like
Thousands, dude.
bro, like actually thousands of people. Like my biggest crowd to perform, and I, you know, probably not yours, but like it was like a huge moment for me. And I feel like honestly, after that show, it gave me a second wind and a second kick in the ass. Like, oh yeah, you can do this. Cause like I was flip flopping, right? Natural process of an artist. Like you go through these times where these like existential crisis, like, yeah, am I wasting time? Am I doing this, that, and the third? I'm not where I want to be. Look at this person who's my age. Look at this person who's younger than me. And look how much more successful he is and has more streams and views. Comparison is the thief of joy. And I try to repeat that to myself all the time. After doing that show, I was like, I cannot let anybody who believes in me down, or like most importantly, myself down. I believe in the stuff that we like. I believe in the stuff that I make. And that's a part of the journey, is like self-belief. You got to know wholeheartedly you are him. You know what I mean? Like your book, Believe Before the World Does.
Yeah.
And I do truly believe Jet Perry is a fucking superstar that you don't know yet. But we're on the path to turn that tide right now. So, again, you know, I've thanked you many times, but I definitely want to thank you again for like giving me that opportunity to like perform, like to open up for A Boogie and Cash Cobain, and like, you know, the looks that helped, that the looks that gave was, you know, it's all about perception. Obviously, people fake the funk on social media all the time, and it's like I never like, when I was sharing the photos of the show, I wasn't like acting like, oh, I did a whole set, but like even just having the opportunity to get on stage, perform a song that we wrote, produced, like it was a moment, you know what I mean? So definitely one of the crowning achievements so far in this journey.
Well, one, I appreciate that, Jet, and two, I didn't even know that about, you know, because, you know, one thing I do know is that we both had lull moments this year, right? But I didn't know that your thought process around that time, you were like, you know, and that it gave you like kind of like that second wind of like, okay, here we are.
And like historically speaking, I don't get in those spaces often. Sure, I get in those spaces where it's like, oh, I'm not where I'm supposed to be. But like there was serious thought into being like, you know what, maybe I should just go back to school for something, and like, you know what I mean? And this is like, I guess this is an exclusive for the pod, breaking that aura. I feel like a bunch of people see me like, yo, you keep it up. You've been doing it consistently since high school, which is true. And like anytime people say that to me, I feel like a responsibility. It's more than just like, oh, like I gotta do this for me, and it's like, because I've been so committed to it for so long, and I know I have passion for it and love for it, and because so many people do believe in what I'm doing, I feel like I'd be letting so many people down if one day I'm like, I'm not Jed anymore. I'm Vincent, and I'm a bank teller at Chase. No shade to Chase.
I know what you're saying.
I love Chase. You know, I bank with Chase. Chase the money. But you know, it's just like it's one thing
it's
to like
not,
have
it's not Chase. It's what it represents. You going back to Chase represents you giving up.
Right. And one of my, I always say it is like one of the most heartbreaking things for me is to see like these ultra creative people I've known throughout my life and grown up with, and they're like, man, I just ain't got time for it anymore. I had to get a job. Oh, I got kids now. Oh, I'm married. Like I ain't got time for it. And I'm like, damn, like they're just dropping like flies, especially at our age. So, you know, it can be a little discouraging sometimes, but like
soul crushing even, dude.
You got to surround yourself with like-minded individuals. You got to surround yourself with people that are on the same mission. Because if you're doing it by yourself, it's tough. You got to have a team of some sort, right? And I am...
Even if it's just motivation, dude, just to bounce ideas off of.
Exactly. Like, you know, there's been so many times where I wasn't feeling it. I just wasn't in like the creative spirit for like a month, 2 months, 3 months. Somebody will send me a beat. Yo, sent this. See what you could do to that. And that would spark me again, like, whatever, I'll listen to it. I come up with a melody. And then next thing I know, I'm writing. The next thing I know, I'm in the studio recording it, you know? So, I'm very fortunate to have a great support system, and also just have crazy talented people around me. Like, having creatives is one thing. I mean, these people I associate with, and that includes yourself, crazy levels of talent. I don't know what I did to be so lucky to like meet these people and like create and work with them and et cetera, but like I'm very grateful for I'm grateful for, you know, the people that I surround myself with creatively, because if it wasn't for them, this would be it'd be an even tougher journey to try and do this by myself, you know? So yeah, surround yourself with like-minded people, man. It's tough. If you're from like Iowa or something where there's not a lot of art out there, there's not much of an art scene, you got to find people in Iowa or find people on the internet. You know, the internet's like a tool we can use now to like connect with people that are on the other side of the planet, you know? So, you know, we have the benefit of coming up in a time as creatives where, you know, one TikTok blows up and now you got a whole bunch of new fans. But at the same time, it's oversaturated because so many other people are doing the same thing as you. So, like I said, to bring it a little full circle, you got to do things that make you stand out and, you know, keep people around you that are good for you, creatively, spiritually, et cetera, et cetera. It's all hand in hand.
I don't know if I know this, but what is success to you, dude?
That's a good question. I ask myself that all the time. Success to me. I feel like success to me is so it depends. Like, if since we're talking about creativity, right? Creatively, success to me is feeling fulfilled from it. Right. And if you feel like, you know, when I put music out, even if it doesn't do what I want it to do numbers wise, views wise, stream wise, whatever, it's still looking back like, oh, these people don't know it yet. Like the people haven't caught on yet, but I can still look at this and be like, I'm proud of this, proud of what we've done. Right. The Offer is a perfect example of that too. Speaking of The Offer, it's like, you know, obviously it's not a box office smash, but I'm still proud of like what we did, you know. So that's the case for a lot of the stuff I've been involved with over the years. So I feel like that's just my personal definition. Obviously, everybody's success or definition of it is different. If some people are like, oh, if it gets less than 10,000, it was a flop, it's a failure. But it's like, nah, like I don't think it's a failure. It's just like not everything's gonna catch on the same way. So, but if you feel fulfilled, proud of it, how is that not successful? Because you went out and achieved what you set out to do, is to realize a vision. Like, I think that's what's so very interesting and unique about creative people. It's like when you have it starts as like a dream, and then you had an idea in your head that was nothingness. It was literally nothing. Even if you try to explain it to somebody, they're like, I think I see the vision. But it's like, yo, but you don't see it like I see it exactly. And only you can make that vision or realize it to the same way that it was in your head, because you're the only one that had the literal vision. Somebody can understand what you're trying to explain to them, but you are the one that had that idea, and then it became realized, and now it's real life. This was a fucking idea at one point. Oh, what if I just get in a straitjacket and put a mask on and this, that, and the third, and the whole concept is in a insane asylum. This was all in my head at one point. Then I said, and then it's just been really cool to see one step get checked off the list, and now here we are a week out from a new album, and I haven't had the time to really sit back, marinate in it, and say, oh, I'm proud yet, but, you know, let's put it out first. But like, I'm grateful we're at this stage. I'm glad that I got this far, because this is farther than I've gotten in almost 10 years.
And I noticed a shift in energy with you too, in a very positive way, dude. Like, I just like, you know, I know that you're not big on the word excitement. Let's use the word energized. But you seem more energized. You seem, you know, you got something on the horizon that's got a pep in your step. And, you know, you're doing something that I always remind myself to do, is that you're breaking the cycle. And that is so hard to do because you're in the cycle of not dropping a project. So now, you know, this album that you're releasing.
Not dropping much of anything, like not just projects. Like I've maybe dropped a handful of songs in the last few years, like being all honesty. So like, or in all honesty, and you know, Bayview Baby was like the return of Jet Perry. So like, but yeah, go ahead.
But no, you're good, dude. But the point I was just trying to get to is that you're breaking the cycle and, you know, kind of getting out of your own way and releasing this new project.
Getting out of your own way.
I want to pull it a little bit back to, because, you know, another thing you talked about a little bit was the metrics of it, right? And sometimes it's not how many people, but it's like how it affects a person or how powerful, because, you know, Somebody New is not my most popular song. It's a great performing song, but to me, that might be one of my more powerful songs. And like, if you listen to even the lyrics on that song, you know, or help me here, right? Like, did you find what you're looking for? A life that's really worth living for?
Did you find what you're looking for? Something that you're really living for.
And it's like, to me, that when I listen to that, it's like kind of goes back to like finding your purpose, right? Because that's like what I hear. It's like, you know, you really, and I think that's a message that everyone can relate to, because I think sometimes people struggle with finding their purpose, you know? Like, I feel grateful, and I know you probably do too, that you've found this life as an artist that you love.
Bro, there are people that are 35 that still are like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what I'm going to do in life. Like, you know, they're just kind of like floating by on something that's not feeding them. I have been again, fortune, luck, like blessed, you know, like I'm very grateful because for as long as I can remember, I've known the path. I've known exactly what I wanted to do. It might have grew legs over years, but music was always something I wanted to do. Creativity, I was always into creativity. I used to draw as a kid, and then that became a love for music in middle school. And then once I heard Graduation, I was like, oh yeah, this is what I want to do, by Kanye, obviously. That album put me on the path. And then from there, you know, obviously I grew an interest in filmmaking and film, and that's something I definitely want to divulge into full time at some point. But I try to put that element in the visuals, like the music videos that I do, just kind of showing my appreciation and love for cinematography and film and storytelling and all this stuff. So I've been really fortunate to just know. I've always just known. And I think that's a lot of people admire that about me, because it's like, yo, I've known you since you were 14 and now you're older and this, that, and the third, but you've always been that guy. You've always been, and I've heard, and I'm sure it's been the same thing with you, you know what I mean? Anybody I talk to that went to school with you in high school or something, they're like, yo, Squires is still doing it, man. and yeah. People are making those comments because it's the most common thing is people pick up an interest in those things early, and then they drop them as they get older because responsibilities, whatever, you know, financial crisis, whatever.
Being an artist is not easy.
It's the path of the most resistance. Being a creative in general, if you have dreams to be an actor or an artist, anything that's out of the norm, anything that falls into the lane of creativity, most of the time, people aren't going to look at you and respect it the same way as an accountant, right? I had posted this the other day, and I was saying how the question you still make music?
Yeah.
Disrespectful.
It is disrespectful, dude.
This is not a hobby, bro. Look at what I'm doing. For music, I am thousands of dollars in the hole because of this project. I am living in a tent on Main Street. No, I'm just kidding. But for real, I've spent so much money on this shit. If this was a passion, this is an expensive if this was a hobby, this is an expensive fucking hobby. You know what I mean? I invest so much money into it and don't even give it a second thought. I mean, yeah, I feel it on my wallet, but there's nothing else I'd rather spend money on than something that feeds me. This shit feeds me. If I couldn't create, I'm swanton bombing off a bridge, man.
And even on the car ride here, because Jet and I rode up together.
That was a suicide joke. Call the number.
I was trying to push past. Okay, all right.
If you're struggling, call the number, please. 1-800, whatever the fuck Logic said.
Thank you, Jet. So on the way up here, I had the opportunity to listen to the project, and one of the things you said on the ride here is how fulfilling it is right now to like have a project coming out. So it's like I could just tell how much this means to you, and I'm excited for you. I'm excited for you to release it because I think once you break the cycle that I just said, like once you have the album come out, the energy is going to be even more different because it goes from like the ball's still in your hand. You got to just.
There's a bit of like a special feeling having this thing is good only to you and to like certain people you show, right? Because it's like, ooh, it's like I don't know how to explain it. It's like you're
a little secret, dude.
Yeah, it's like you're Rick Sanchez. You're like a mad
Yeah.
scientist. Look what I've concocted. Look at my newest invention. And then you put it out, and then you see it take on a new life of its own. And you see other people that you don't even talk to. I mean, bro, it's crazy how being an artist is so different. Because, like, it can be people you haven't talked to or didn't know tapped in at all. There have been people I haven't talked to in a decade, more than a decade. It's like, bro, I heard that last joint. Keep doing your thing. I'm like, yo, that's crazy. Like, I be forgetting sometimes, like, the way the internet works. You just post something, and then somebody could just be casually strolling. Oh, VJ's dropped something? All right, cool, let me see. And they click it, and they're like, yo, this shit is hard. And it's like, it just could so happen that you haven't spoken to that person in forever. So it's like, oh, you just think, oh, they don't, listen to my stuff or interact with it. But like, one of those couple thousand views could be like 500 of those views could be from, some secret admirer of yours, of your music, obviously. But, so I think it's an interesting thing. I'm very curious to see what the people think of it, especially like the people outside of my network, outside of the people I know. I want to see because to me, that's like I guess that's another like confirmation to me. Like, okay, so my stuff is good outside of people who actually are lying to me.
Yeah.
Like that know me and they're like,
it's real, dude.
Yeah, so like, if some guy in Iceland is like, yes, Jet Barry. I don't know if that's the Icelandic accent. Sorry to offend the Iceland fans, but yes, Jet Barry, very good. Yes, I love somebody new. It's like, okay, word. This is good, So Germany loves Big Chungus, which is a record on Head Nurse. They love Big Chungus for some reason. They're out there raging to it. So
there's a big hip hop scene in Germany, dude.
I might have to take a trip to Germany.
Could be
German Jet.
Dang.
The rebrand. The rebrand.
But Jet, I'm gonna pull this to the end zone. What's your message to the
last few minutes? I'll show my face for the people who don't know what I'm.
There he is, dude. I'm not even gonna hold you, Jet. You need help?
Yeah, because you just
strapped up.
untie me here.
Yeah, I'm not cutting this out. Oh yeah, I thought he's dog. I
Did a good job there.
Thank you.
You got
experience, dude.
This dude said he's got experience in restraint. Restraining people.
Well, dude, I'm not gonna hold you, dude. There are a couple moments where we were getting real, and I'm like, yo, I can't look at Jet's face right now.
My bad if I'm greasy.
No, you know what it looks like though? Because if I'm looking out of the corner of my eye and I'm not looking because it's like a similar skin tone, it kind of just looks like you have like intense Botox.
Right.
But it's good. But no, it's good to show the face to the people, and it's a good time for you to give your message to the world, dude.
Get that thing.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, there we go.
Cross branding, no.
There you go. There we go.
Okay, we'll get it. We'll get it.
Oh yeah.
We'll get it. We didn't get it. All right.
All right.
Yeah. I'm scratching that plan.
Yeah, it's okay.
What's up with your?
Yeah, we'll just go. I'm not taking anything out. I'm just gonna.
Yeah, no, it's fine. It's all natural. Keep it organic.
Yeah. Message to the world.
Message. Keep it organic. Put it out.
No, it's real, dude. That is real. You gotta put it out.
What were you were gonna ask me a question? Though.
Yeah. I'm curious what your message to the world is.
Oh, my message to the world. I mean, I'm not on some Gandhi shit. Like, I'm not gonna be, I partake in my fair share of debauchery and nonsensical behavior. I'm nobody to be a role model, but I as far as a message goes, I mean, I think whoever you are, whatever you do, like life is. Oh, I'm gonna sound so fucking cliche.
No,
Oh God, can I go back to the fucking insane asylum guy?
No, no, but the point, like, a lot of these end up being cliche, but that doesn't make them any less true.
Right. I guess it would be like, this whole conversation kind of got into creativity, passion, and purpose, and all those things are tied together for me personally. Like I said, if I wasn't able to create, I would have done a backflip off a bridge a long time ago, right? This thing that we do, that some people just see and they're like, oh, that's what's up, right? Not dismissive or anything, just like, that's what's up. They still do that music thing. It's more than that music thing for me, because, like, especially in the content of my music, like, I tell a lot of personal experiences, a lot of personal feelings in the music, and it's my form of expression in a way that I can't do via conversation. And I know a bunch of artists have said that, oh, like, this is where I can really be myself. It's like, but like, those feelings I can't express through a conversation with a lot of people, when it's in audio format, it's like a second nature, you know what I mean? And to be able to bring something that was in here and conceptualize it and bring it to the physical form is it's a beautiful process. I love to see it happen. So for me, my message to the world is find that thing for you. Whatever, the same feeling, the same passion, the same authenticity. Because none of this I'm lying about. I mean, you could look at my face. I have no reason to lie about the impact that creating content, not when people say content, I think of like internet shit, but like creating art does for me. That's that same passion. I mean this all with every fiber of my being, my soul, my spirit. I wouldn't be on this podcast if I didn't care, right? And I speak with conviction on it. Find something that you speak the same way about too, because life is a pain in the ass. Life can be grueling, it can be cruel, it can be hard. We all know this. We need things to like stimulate that left side of the brain, or is it the right side? I don't know which one.
Stimulate the brain.
Stimulate the brain in general. Go stim that brain, okay? Because it's going to be a long journey through this thing if you don't find something that keeps you here. There has to be more than the monotony of get a bag, wake up, go to work, the gym is that for a lot of people, is like the therapy, right? But like there's got to be more than just like working.
The mundane,
right? You're just working to survive and surviving to work. There's more to that. And I have a line on the opening of the album. The first song is called Hard Pill to Swallow. And the whole theme is like, I'm not actually crazy. I'm admitted into the psych ward because I'm telling these truths about everyday life, right? And, one of the lines is like, how we going to grow from working 9 to 5, 5 to 9, 5 days a week, and patient as I, 40 hours on the clock, 168 in a week, 128 remaining trying to stay on your feet. As the world evolving into chaos, cops lock us up and spray us, praying to a God I'm still not sure I believe. It's like just being honest with myself, saying those words that I couldn't just say that to somebody, right? It's like, but like being able to like put that in song form, it felt good because it's like that's how a lot of people feel when they talk to a therapist. That's how a lot of people feel when they write in their diary, So putting those personal feelings and thoughts out to the world, it takes courage, and that's for a lot of artists. It takes courage to put stuff out because you're once you put stuff in the public, you're bound to scrutiny. So for the artist specifically, yeah, you definitely gotta continue to create, because if it feeds you, what else are we here for? You know what I mean? Whether you're making music for a hobby or you're making it to be a superstar or whatever, you know what I mean? Whatever you do, do stuff that feeds you. I guess that's my message to the world, because there's a lot of things about life that suck. There's a lot of great things about life. And one of the things that is great is that we get to decide our own paths for the most part. And the journey of finding what we love and, doing that thing. So, yeah, it's been an interesting journey so far for me in life, creatively, and I look forward to see the future. And I hope I can keep this same spark and passion going forward because, I'm human. I flip-flop every now and then sometimes, my thoughts on the whole thing. But I think trying to remember the highs, remember this feeling, and chasing that continuously, I think that'll keep me going. And it keeps a lot of people going. So, yeah, find that high, keep chasing it. Unless it's dabs, don't do that. Don't do that.
Yeah, and I mean, really well said, dude. I think there's a lot of people, and especially like artists, creators, or just people that are just trying to figure out their purpose in life that could take something away from that. I'm going to pull this to the end zone, Jet. Let's talk a little bit about Head Nurse right now. It's coming out, and then plug your socials, and there we are, dude.
All right. Yeah. Head Nurse, the new album from Jet Perry and Mad Laugh, dropping this Thursday, October 31st, Halloween. Also Mad Laugh's birthday. That's really why we're dropping it. Halloween. He just so happens to be born on Halloween. But October 31st, this Thursday, is Head Nurse. Monday the 28th, we're dropping a music video to a single on the project called Pray. Should be coming out, a day after this episode comes out. So, some cool things on the horizons coming within the next week or so as far as like music on my end. So hope you guys check it out. Hope you guys stream it on Spotify, Apple, whatever. I'm curious to see what the people think.
And if people want to connect with you and find you, how can they?
You can find me on, not everything, but you can find me on Instagram at Jets Vision, JETSVISION. You'd be surprised how many people don't know how to spell vision. Jets Vision at Jets Vision on Instagram. Check me out on YouTube, Jet Perry, Jet space Perry, JET space PERRY. You can follow me on Facebook, facebook.com/Jet Perry. Or is it Jet Perry Music? Try both, see what happens. And then YouTube, Jet Perry. Look up Jet Perry, JETPERRY, youtube.com/The Jet Perry. I'm on all the DSPs. Go stream if you'd like. If I suck, leave a comment. Let me know.
My guy, thank you for coming on the pod, dude.
Of course, bro. Of course.
Yeah, no, I'm really happy to have you here
On
today.
time coming.